Donc on est parti. On est parti pour notre petit avancement donc de fontaine. On va aller voir le... Si je me trompe pas, je crois que ça doit être le spectacle de Liney. Linette à l'opéra. Vu qu'on est encore arrivé à Fontaine il n'y a pas très longtemps. Pas de soucis, Capette. Merci à toi. C'est moi ou on dirait vraiment qu'elle nous dit va chier en gros. Ouais, on dirait que le jeu nous dit va chier, va chier.
You might not be imagining things at all. I suspect that what you heard is a result of your hypersens- It's because of his- When do you cry? Wait, what? Just answer. When Paimon's really sad? Oh, and when Paimon's... Then you should understand that tears contain your...
Ah c'est vrai, t'as vu, va chier, va chier.
What you heard was the intense emotion coming from some... So, what did the voice say? Rather than worrying, don't let that calm. Oh, right.
J'oublie à chaque fois qu'il y a des conversations qui durent 20 plombes. Si, alors je voulais faire un truc, même si ça sert à rien, mais ça me stresse. On va mettre le... On va mettre lui. Et on va lui mettre la couleur hydro. Parce que, évidemment, tu sais, dans les cinématiques, il garde ses couleurs d'hydro. Donc ça me stresse quand t'es à Fontaine. Donc je vais lui remettre son petit... Hop, là. Je vais lui mettre la couleur bleue. Ça dans les cinématiques, il sera aux couleurs du pays. Toi, toi, ça sert à rien, toi, mais un petit côté RP que j'aime bien, quoi. Toi, quand t'es dans le pays, tu mets la couleur du pays, toi. Alors, Raiden. Toi, les persos que j'ai, donc j'ai eu toi, Navia. Dans la pool Navia Yaeka. J'ai eu Kamisato avec Sino. En ratant mon 50-50, j'ai eu 2 fois Diluc, donc Diluc et C1. J'ai eu Yoimiya avec le même pool que Raiden. Raiden, je l'ai C1. L'avantage quand tu commences le jeu, c'est que les primos, ça y va. Oh la vache. Comme quand tu découvres le jeu, que tu découvres les milliards de coffres qu'il y a dans le jeu. Alors, genre, niveau primo, j'ai jamais eu de problème au début du jeu. Maintenant, je commence à en chier un peu plus. Et en ratant mon 50-50, le dernier que j'ai fait, bah, j'ai eu Deia. Donc ça me fait 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5 étoiles en 2 mois, c'est pas mal, je trouve. Alors j'aurais pu avoir plus, que là j'économise, toi, mais c'est pas mal. Donc on va remettre Aiden, voilà. Je crois que en tout, j'ai 40... Alors j'ai l'application YoLab, je sais pas si toi tu l'as pris ou pas, Capsule. C'est avec moi l'application de YoLab. Ça me permet c'est de faire les quotidiennes, sans avoir besoin d'allumer le jeu, toi. Pas les quotidiennes, les connexions quotidiennes. Voilà. Ah bah tiens, nickel. Hop, voilà. Nouveau message. J'ai récupéré 3 tickets en plus. Alors, j'ai 41 personnages. Et en tout, 60 jours d'activité. Donc, j'ai 60... j'ai 2 mois. Voilà. Comme c'est 22 heures, bah, j'ai 2 mois maintenant. Bah, l'avantage, c'est qu'avec comme je suis avec le YoLab, donc l'application de YoVerse pour tous les jeux de ces Genshin, pour l'autre, merde, comment il s'appelle, Genshin, Honkai et les autres qui arrivent, parce qu'il y a encore ZZZ et compagnie. En une touche, tu fais ta connexion quotidienne, donc tu récupères tes tickets, tes primos et tout, toi. Donc c'est vachement pratique. Alors, est-ce que j'ai de quoi monter la fontaine ou pas encore? Je crois que j'ai pas assez pour monter... 24 pas assez, je crois. Je crois que c'est 30. Ouais, 30. Toi, et bah, en farmant, toi, les zones, toi, j'ai vite monté tout. Hein. Moi, ce qui me manque, c'est ça. Toi, je suis à la chasse de ça. Les résines, j'en ai plus. Clairement, j'en ai plus. Toi, j'en ai 5. 7. Ouais, donc j'avais plus beaucoup, toi. Ah, je peux acheter un ticket. 198, j'ai vu que je peux acheter un ticket. Ce qui fait que j'ai... Roulement de tambour. 48 plus ces 3 vœux qui vont m'offrir, ça me fait 51 vœux pour avoir Naïda. Sachant que tu as dû voir sur les vidéos Genshin que je fais mes invoques en vidéo. Comme ça on peut voir si j'ai la chance ou pas. En vidéo ou en live. Pourtant j'ai pas trop me plaindre toi, à part Raiden qui a traîné un peu pour tomber. Sinon les autres, je crois que j'ai... En vidéo j'ai jamais raté un 50-50. Donc tu vas voir que ça va arriver avec Naïda, hein, sinon c'est pas drôle. Ah, là, il a les petits symboles bleus sur lui, toi. Donc ça fait un peu plus RP.
Don't mention it. There's no need to keep thanking me.
Hey, Liney, could you come over here and take a look at this?
Oh, I'll be right there. Seems there's an issue with the stage props over there. That's Cowl, my assistant.
Yeah, we'll just go to our seats. You go ahead, Linny.
Par contre, un truc qui a été kiffant, je pense, dans le jeu, c'est que justement, il te fasse une tenue. Tu prends dans le scénario d'Inazuma, si tu le connais assez bien, quand tu rencontres Kamisato Yaka et que tu te balades dans la ville avec, elle te parle justement de te fabriquer à toi un kimono. Ton personnage le refuse, il adore. Oh non, non, il y en a une Villette. Ça, il te parle justement d'avoir, de te faire un kimono. Toi, tu dis, oh, mais j'adore mes vêtements et tout, je serais pas à l'aise. Ça a été kiffant d'avoir un look par perso, toi. Par région. Il y a une Villette. Le juge.
Hey, traveler. Maybe we should strike up a conversation with the person. You little...
Excuse me. I did not realize you felt awkward. I would be perfectly happy to chat with you if that...
Oh, so you heard? Wait, that's not it. Paimon's sorry. Paimon's the one who was being rude, talking under... Oh, Paimon's got it. You're also here.
A friend, you say? Well, if Mr...
Oh, so you're not friends with Linny, then...
Il est classe quand même. Moi, je trouve que, comme ça, toi, t'enlèves la couleur bleue. Il y a un côté très fort Sephiroth. Toi, les cheveux gris longs, le petit regard un peu comme ça, toi, la mèche. Il y a un côté très fort Sephiroth de Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, Monsieur Nervillet. What an honor it is to have you here to...
Ah, Mr. Linney. I should say it is in fact an honor...
Wait.
I saw you all chatting just now, but it seemed... Allow me to introduce you to Fontaine's Chief Justice. That seat is always reserved for him. It wouldn't be too much to say that he's...
Et en plus, bah, Sephiroth étant mon antagoniste préféré de tous les jeux Final Fantasy. C'est vraiment le méchant que j'aime le plus.
There's someone sitting up there in the VIP seats that has been struck. I believe she is trying to give you a most elegant and impressive first So I think you should take notice of her sooner rather than later. Otherwise...
Furina.
Very good.
Je sais pas si toi t'as d'autres personnages méchants que t'aimes bien dans les jeux vidéo en général.
All right, please wait just a moment longer. I've pretty much finished my preparations and the performance will start at...
Yay! The show's finally about to start!
Allez. Profitons du spectacle de Liney.
Lights, the
Welcome, one and all, to the Opera Epiclese. I am the star of today's show, LINEY. And over here is my sister, Lynette, who will be working as my wonderful assistant. Please.
Hello, everyone.
Pour l'instant, si c'est expliqué dans un scénario, je préfère attendre. Toi de le découvrir moi-même, Capsule. Tout ce que là, à partir de Fontaine, tu sais, c'est no spoil, toi. Je sais que voilà, elle a un œil différent de couleur. Et s'il y a une suite dans le scénario où il explique, je préfère découvrir, toi. Comme je connais absolument pas Fontaine, je préfère découvrir les trucs. Après, par contre, s'il y a des trucs où j'aurai des questions, je t'enverrai. Si tu viens sur Discord, je t'enverrai un MP si tu veux. Je te demanderai.
A magician's greatest skill is making things disappear or appear. The possibilities are endless. But this isn't what you came for. These little tricks, you've seen them all before. So it's time for something truly extraordinary, don't you think? This one's a little tricky. Using this water tank, I shall make my sister vanish completely. Right before your very eyes. It's actually quite simple. She'll just turn into air bubbles and float right out of the top. I told them to check all the props carefully. With the lid on, even air can't escape. An amateur magician would be getting very nervous right around now. Luckily, it's me on stage, so let me show you what a true virtuoso can do.
Ah, il est à poil.
Too far. We don't want to use up all our magic.
Hi, I'm back.
J'ai retrouvé des vêtements de rechange.
If we could see easily through his tricks, then that would mean that his skills are still... To appreciate magic, you should focus on the show happening on stage, rather than...
Guess you're right. Paimon couldn't believe her eyes when Lynette
Thank you everyone. But our magical journey has only just begun. The magic of transformation and disappearance can go far beyond what you've just seen. I'm sure many of you are thinking that escaping the water tank was impressive enough. But Lynette is... In which case, I have ample time to make all necessary... So, for my next trick, I will require the participation... Please, if my assistants could bring out the... There are 2 boxes, and only 2 boxes. One is here, and one is there in the aisle among the audience. I'm sure many of our clever audience members have already... Our lucky audience member and I will each enter a magic box. After 1 minute, we will each emerge from the opposite box. Now please, everyone pay very close attention to the box you see here. Don't give me any—
Wow! Hey, do you think this is all magic tricks, or does Lenny have actual
The lucky audience member will be generated by this. It selects numbers entirely at random. Now then, let's begin. Let me see. Oh, row 7, seat 3. Congratulations. Please, come forward. My assistant will take you beside.
Ça aurait été marrant que ce soit une Villette, toi. En mode, je veux pas le faire. En mode hyper stoïque. Non, non, je veux pas le faire.
Don't need to do anything, but no matter what strange things may happen, if the magic is interrupted, who knows where you might end up? You might even find yourself.
Oh.
All right. Before I enter the magic box, there is one more thing I need. Like this: 60, 59, 58. I won't be able to see anything in the pitch black box, so I'll be relying on your voices to know when. Oh, and no tricks now. If you quickly count from 60 in just 30 seconds.
Ooh! Paimon kinda wants to count faster after hearing him.
No, that won't do. I can see it in your eyes. Come on, repeat after me. 60! That's right, perfect. Keep it going. All right, I'll see you.
54? Why aren't you counting, Neverland?
I am counting in my head. I think merely a consequence of my identity and personality. Do not worry about me. Just...
Oh! Alright. You look so serious that 40!
Mr. Linney, are you all right in there?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm just double Q. It'd be a disaster if we get sent to the wrong places. For example...
Even though he's saying that, Lenny doesn't seem nervous at all. What was that noise? Did you hear it too? Not sure. Anyway, that's 20!
What's wrong, Mr. Linney? I can still...
I seem to have accidentally knocked over a decoration. I'm trying to fix it, but it's pitch black in here.
Never mind the decorations. There's no time for that.
No, that's unacceptable. I want my show to be perfect.
19!
It seems things aren't quite going as planned. It feels like you're all starting to count faster, but that's all right. I know it can be 10 seconds and change is still plenty of time.
10!
Almost there now. Whew. Swapping two people is harder work than you might think. Even a master magician like me can't guarantee I'll get it right the first time. Hey, wait! Is this the back one? I can't tell. They both look the same inside. Huh? No, that's not it. I'll try again.
7!
Hey, slow down! Honestly!
5! 4! 3!
Whoops! That doesn't count!
Il est con.
Ta-da!
Oups. Je suis pas sûr que c'était prévu ça.
Is this part of the show? Mr. Lenny, you're going to use...
What happened?
Oh no. Maybe this isn't part of the show. The girl was...
C'est ça, rip.
is over. Medical staff with me. Guards secure the scene and detain all the performers. Seal the exits. No one is allowed in or out at this time.
Yes, that's right. If this was just an accident, then we must investigate the cause. But...
No need to be alarmed, you two. We'll get to the bottom of
Oh, le pauvre. Oh, c'est le truc, je rigolais parce qu'il était marrant en faisant ah, je me suis gouré, machin. Oh.
His name was Cowell, one of the assistants in Linney's magic troupe. Apparently, the fireworks on stage ignited the ropes that were suspending the water tank. which then caused the tank. As of now, we are still not sure why we found Cowl in the box, rather than the guest from the audience. And after an initial search of the area, the guards have confirmed that the girl, it appears that this incident was not merely some mishap with the performance. And there are many indications that it is connected with the case.
That's the case that Charlotte mentioned before. I know the truth. I say that our powerful magician, Mr. Linney, is now the prime suspect for the serial disappearance.
Oh, le pauvre.
Why me? This whole thing was an accident.
Dans d'autres jeux, je fais un peu de tout, capsule. Tous les jeudis, en moyenne, parce que ça arrive des jeudis qu'on ne le fasse pas pour d'autres raisons. Tous les jeudis, on fait un tournoi Mario Kart. Là, toi, j'avance Genshin, que toi, c'est le jeu en ce moment que j'aime bien faire. Et en fait, je fais vraiment tout. Toi, tu regardes sur la chaîne YouTube, on fait tout. Là, toi, dans les jours qui arrivent, là, on va recevoir le Tekken 8. On va recevoir plein d'autres trucs, toi.
But what Lady Farina said just now makes perfect sense. Looks like she's
A kidnapping and murder carried out under the cover of a magic show.
I mean, of course, my dear people. But that's right. I mean you, traveler. You'll support Linney, won't you? After
On a quoi? On a Tekken 8 qui arrive. On a Driver 2. On a Grand Fantasy Relink. Machin. Mais le tournoi de Mario Kart, tu fais que la commune. Tout le monde peut venir. Tout le monde peut venir. Il n'y a pas de limite. J'ai des streamers qui viennent. J'ai un pote streamer belge, celui qui a pris un sub là tout à l'heure, le Gris de Merlin, qui vient presque tous les jeudis. La communauté peut rejoindre. Si la communauté, je la connais, par exemple, toi, peut-être pas cette semaine, mais peut-être la semaine prochaine, si tu viens sur le truc, bah tu pourras même venir en vocal, toi. Et surtout qu'on attend en vocal, bien évidemment, c'est le respect, pas trop troll et compagnie, toi. Et voilà, après ce soir, on tourne à peu près par ça. J'ai des modérateurs qui peuvent venir. De toute façon, au minimum, il faut être 2 pour lancer le tournoi. Donc, à partir du moment où j'ai au moins un joueur avec moi, on peut lancer le tournoi. Sinon, toi, il y a pas. En fait, on a fait tous les let's play qu'on a fait dans les vidéos que tu as pu voir. On les a quasiment tous fait en live. Donc, quasiment 3800 vidéos sur la chaîne YouTube.
I think they look cute on you. You have good taste, Lynette.
That's the right attitude. Feeling depressed, but with the guards watching our good thing you agreed to.
D'ailleurs, il va falloir qu'on fasse à mon avis, pas ce jeudi, mais jeudi prochain. Donc pas celui qui arrive là, mais la semaine encore d'après. On fera sûrement le live anniversaire de la chaîne YouTube. Parce que la chaîne YouTube a eu 6 ans le 11 janvier. Et bah, maintenant que j'ai un petit, c'est vrai que j'ai absolument pas regardé les dates et j'ai zappé de le faire. Donc on fera sûrement, je pense, un live avec d'autres streamers en mode Battle Royale sur Party Animals, toi. Pour sauter sur la gueule.
I suppose you're right. The truth behind our tricks is going. 'Tis truly, but if revealing our, we should go somewhere.
Let's go have a look while the investigation team.
Ouais.
Hello, officer. How's the investigation going?
Ah, I see. You must be the traveler that Lady Farina mentioned. Listen, I'll...
What do you mean?
Come with me and you'll see. The deceased is one of Linney's assistants, named Cowl. Even though he hadn't joined the troupe, the assistants are usually in charge of setting up and inspecting the props, as well as assisting with the show and keeping... As you probably saw when you were in the audience, the water tank suddenly fell and smashed. This is the real mystery. We've already searched the scene and were unable. However, if you look carefully, the box was positioned directly under the water tank. The ropes holding the tank were then burned by the pyrotechnics on stage, causing them to snap. All these factors lining up so perfectly makes it hard. If anything, the more logical explanation is that the whole incident was intentionally planned, and Linney is the most likely person to have...
But he doesn't have a motive.
Are you both...
Bah, elle est vraiment mort en plus, le pauvre.
So injustice. I know there's no such...
On peut l'appeler la Coel crêpe. La crêpe Coel.
And I can... Sorry. I tend anyway. You may investigate.
Quoi, elle ne manque pas d'air? Enfin, parce que mon compte maintenant, oui. Ah non, vraiment en mode Sherlock Holmes, on va résoudre l'affaire? Sérieusement? Alors, tu sauras, mon pauvre, que je suis l'humour le plus ténébreux que tu puisses connaître. Si t'aimes l'humour noir, t'as pas fini avec moi. Ah, je suis très humour noir, toi. En même temps, si on peut pas rigoler de tout, c'est pas drôle.
See, I told you. What if the machine picked some big guy's seat?
Sorry to interrupt, but we're helping Linny and Lynette with their side of the investigation.
You're trying to help them? That'll be a tall order.
Linny used the machine to pick a random member of the audience during his performance, right? The lucky girl that later... Well, we thought there might be a serious problem with the machine.
It turns out that the seat number it picked wasn't random at all. The machine picked... I'm sure you already know that you have to make a reservation in advance to get a... In other words, Linny knew who would be...
That much...
Let's just see why I was saying it'd be tough to make a case for Linny.
Ok, oui, je commence. Donc en fait, en gros, ils ont profité du spectacle pour foutre la merde à LINEY, quoi. Ah, c'est pas de bol pour lui, quand même. C'est vraiment pas de bol pour lui.
Oh, this location. The seats were all booked in advance. So sure, it's not. Her name is Halsey. Apparently, the Magic Troop member. Simply put, she wasn't related to the Magic Troop at all.
Were the victims of...
That's how it seems to us.
Okay then.
No need to be so It is of utmost
Ok, il nous reste juste... Bah en fait, après, je me demande qui c'est. Peut-être là-bas. Là. Alors, en général, je fais 21h minuit. Là, ça sera plus. Toi, là, j'ai fait 20h30. Et je pense que d'ici une bonne demi-heure, après, je couperai parce que j'ai quand même ma compagne qui m'attend. En général, j'essaie de faire pour l'instant, le temps que je prenne le rythme, c'est avec mon fils. On va faire 1h à 2h par stream. Et après, on verra. C'est petit à petit, je pourrais développer petit à petit les streams quand j'aurai pris le rythme avec le petit. Que mon fils, toi, il a que 5 mois, donc c'est compliqué de lui dire pendant 4-5 heures, tu bouges pas, tu fais pas de bruit, toi. Je pense que tout le monde peut comprendre. D'ailleurs, n'hésite pas à me rajouter sur Genshin. Oh, il y a des fatuis, non? Ah, c'est Navia! Bah oui! J'ai oublié qu'elle était de Fontaine. N'hésite pas à me rajouter sur Genshin, mon petit capsule. Tiens, j'ai oublié qu'elle était là.
Pleased to meet you. And I'm Melus, Demoiselle's various daily needs and affairs.
Huh? Boss? Well, I am the second generation president.
My apologies, Demoiselle. Should you prefer, boss, I will endeavor...
No need. You don't have to Okay, if you say so. All merely trifling details. Never mind. Now, that's right. Judging from the look of... Really? We think so too! That's why we're looking. But how did you come to that conclusion? Intuition, naturally. Farina sure was quick to point the finger at Linny without any decisive evidence. But that's not uncommon for her. If you remember, the Justice had to interrupt her and ask if she was pressing charges. Anyway, a trial begins the moment someone levels charges. And, of course, there was no way Farina was going to back down in that situation. Sounds more like you just don't trust. Well, what's your opinion? I must admit that she can be interesting at times. All right, I've answered your question. Wait a minute. Well, I say it does. But don't worry. You won't hear any pointless questions from me. In your opinion, do you think it's right to treat a trial like it's an opera?
Ouais, avec les petites lunettes.
And why would that be? See, Silver and Malus?
Most astute of you, demoiselle. I too think that the traveler, no matter how wonderful the script or how fervent the audience's expectation, that if that can be done, boss, then...
All right, that's quite enough, Malus. Anyway, now, I need to make some preparations, following which our joint Wait! Since when... Oh, well, I can be the assistant. Sure. That's more like it.
Far be it from me to brag, but I believe that Demoiselle's intuition will be instrumental. You wish to say...
You have a point. And what about you over there? What do you think? You seem like you've got some...
I have nothing to...
Oh, we'll be making some preparations first. Just be sure to let us know if they start revealing Linny's... Whoever the murder... People needed to register.
Il y a un truc là.
Sorry. No, were you always... Yes, after... So, the missing girl couldn't... I doubt there... How can you be so... Well, I couldn't see Lit... But still, we So, it's safe to say the girl couldn't... Alright, thank you for your help. This...
Ouais, mais alors si elle peut pas sortir par là, c'est-à-dire qu'il y a des endroits secrets. Tu fais start ami, un coup à droite, et là tu fais rajouter IUD. Donc pour ma part, l'IUD... Ah, là, voilà. Je te laisse mettre pause et récupérer l'IUD là, tu vois, 766 089 154. Je te laisse faire pause et récupérer cet IUD. Et comme ça, je t'accepte dès que tu me rajoutes.
Let's go see, shall we? Ooh, things are getting interesting, huh? We're about to see how magic is made.
Understood. Then I will be going with you. Just so you're aware, I will be
Very good. Thanks for being so agreeable. I'd pull a rose out of my hat as a gift.
You may spare the pleasantries. I'm just
You've arrived. Who's this? Me? I'm Spina di Rosula's guardian angel. If you've got a problem, I've got the... Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Call me, and these are my companions. Would you mind if... Fine by me?
Oh, new helpers? I would...
Well, let's just say we're tagging along. It's not every day you get to see the secrets behind magic performed on such a large...
I appreciate your kind interest. Come with me. We'll be heading below stage.
Huh? Below stage?
Yes, a world of secrets is hidden beneath this magic box, prepared But before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here? I'm not trying to be dramatic. Remembering the details of a trick will help you understand the methods used to perform it more easily.
Huh. Weren't there balloons and other decorations here?
Ah, good eye. That said, you're still far from discovering the...
The back? You mean the inside of the door?
Very good indeed. The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, what do you get? Exactly.
Ok, bah je te rajoute dès que... J'accepte ton avis dès qu'on a fini toutes les explications.
Precisely. Once the box was, the audience member would only be able to.
Right.
Ah, yes. My assistant and I.
And what about Lynette? I was in the mezzanine space. Oh, that's how we were able to coordinate Linny's lines with the assistant. And by the way,
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell. And that's my favorite part of this trick. Only Lynette and I can perform it.
So that's how it all worked. Wow. Every detail you revealed.
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping into the tunnel and escaping before the box on the trolley could finish ascending. And then I walk out of the other box in the audience area, and the trick would be complete. But as you saw, Cal was in the box, not our audience member. She, on the other...
We really don't know. If not for that interlude, this...
Donc on a raison, elle a dû disparaître, donc là.
This is the scene of the crime. So Linny and Lynette are not permitted to stay here.
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now. Hi.
Thanks, everyone.
À chaque fois il tire. Voilà, toi, hop, hop. Anaz, c'est toi Anaz? Ah, je me retape un ping de... un gros ping.
Oh, these are the her clothes are here, but she's nowhere to be found. Right. And do you really need to do that if you're kidnapping them? Ugh, this is so confusing.
Ah, ça a l'air d'être remonté un peu. Je déteste quand ma box elle fait ça. Parce que toi, là où j'habite pas très loin d'une base militaire. Et en fait, tu sais, avec les brouilleurs de la base militaire, je suis quasiment en zone blanche. Donc t'as pas de connexion internet quasiment. Et bah le truc qui fait flic, c'est que bah t'as beau... toi par exemple, là j'ai une 5G box pour une meilleure connexion. Mais dès qu'on arrive sur le soir, bah hop, ça fait des pics de connexion qui tombent et tout. Donc là, ils doivent installer la fibre, mais je sais pas encore. Du moment qu'ils installent la fibre, comme ça je pourrais repasser en 1080p tranquille. En vrai 1080p. Encore ça, parce que depuis le début, je suis quand même... j'ai très peu de pertes de paquets quand même, quoi. À part les 2 petits crashs là qu'il y a eu. Non, j'ai très peu de pertes de paquets. Mhm. Y'a rien derrière ce truc là. Je crois qu'on a tout regardé, hein. Ouais, bah c'est la joie des brouilleurs de l'armée. Comme il y a les brouilleurs de l'armée pas très loin, bah je suis quasiment en zone blanche, donc ma 5G box suffit pour pouvoir streamer, mais a tendance à cracher, quoi. Ah oui, l'aération, j'ai pas vu. Pendant que j'ai vérifié la réaction.
It seems someone could. Alone, perhaps. But if they had to pull another person with.
But there are no other ways in or out of here. Oh, you're right. Let Paimon write that. Seems we're just about done investigating down here.
Là, j'ai même pas besoin d'utiliser ce pouvoir, j'ai quasiment tout trouvé. Ça, c'est cool.
Well, we've ascertained the state of the crime. Let's find a place to sort out our findings once Malus returns.
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle.
So, what did the guards say? Did the criminal escape through?
They believe the odds of that are very low. The guards have checked the area carefully. No one left through the basement during the performance or after the incident.
So the tunnels become like a secret chamber then. You know, like... The plot thickens.
Ah ouh, capette.
Disappearance and Cowell's death. No wonder Farina was so confident in her accusation.
In other words, the charges are very likely to be upheld unless we make some considerable...
Charges and then trial. So if the charges are upheld... That's right. This is how a trial goes in the Opera House. During the proceedings, the Chief Justice and... That's right. This is how indemnitium is produced. The statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys, witness testimonies, and even the audience's emotions will all be projected. To put it simply, it's as if the oratrice has its own will, and is a judge in its own right.
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice.
Once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make his final decision. This, too, will be used by the oratrice. Then, finally, the oratrice will be consulted by officials. The resultant return... Huh? So that machine is the one that actually decides? I'm on that Novelette.
In practice, there is very little difference. Both have always come to the same judgment. Which is why... yes, the guards also asked me to convey that...
Merci.
Because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies. That makes us persons related.
They're concerned that we might be colluding with outside parties. Or that we might find outside help to disrupt the case. And even if that were not so, it could prove problematic if we happen to spread key information about the case.
I'm ready to break out at an...
Whoa! There's no need for that! Paimon thinks they have a point. That's...
Of course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering to all tastes is...
In that case, let's just sort out our findings together here. Pity. I was hoping to take you to try some of Fontaine's what better way to properly think through our... Breaking out suddenly doesn't seem like such a bad idea after... Just kidding! Just kidding! Paimon will... What do you mean, no snacks? Of course we'll have snacks. If we cannot buy some, the...
Understood, demoiselle. Everyone, please come with me.
J'ai pas compris. Quand il est 23h, il faudrait que je parte. Ne t'inquiète pas, d'ici, tu peux y aller, hein, si tu veux, mon petit capsule. Dans 15 minutes max, moi je coupe. Donc tu peux y aller sans problème. Hein. Ne t'inquiète pas. C'est Mario de streamer les après-midi. Aussi. Mais ouais. Et essentiellement, en général, c'est le soir. Bonne nuit à toi.
I was applauding. And I was giving encouraging smiles.
Mais de rien. Merci à toi en tout cas d'être venu, ça fait super plaisir.
Tea is ready to be served as well. This is Demoiselle's favorite. Strong black tea with a floral fragrance. No need for concern.
Moi c'est du thé Earl Grey. Ça me fait penser un peu à Sébastien. Sébastien avec Ciel de Black Butler.
any logical motive. Exactly! Why would they do such a thing right when everyone was watching? The flower vase and the thud we heard during the performance could indicate some altercation between Halsey and the criminal, and resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction. Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify if she was Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the real trouble is... True. None of the clues we found thus far support the existence of this third person. But the only people left to consider... Huh. Could Halsey have secretly made modifications? That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she would need to understand the entire trick to pull it off. Nor does she have any motive. The guard said that she has never had any dealings with the Magic Troop's members. Were we not thorough enough in our search? From the sound of things, this is turning into an impossible case. Your macarons are amazing though, Navia. They smell great! They're nice and crisp. They are my specialty after... What? 5? Oh, that can't be right.
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few less sweets might...
No. Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to... Besides, Paimon knows that if she ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough. Wait, even you don't believe Paimon? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her... All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might have gotten too loose. Set up the stove again, if you would. Huh? Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons of course. Exactly. We don't want to trouble you.
As you wish, demoiselle.
And I have the egg, sugar, and almond.
Well, this really is... Well, that's it for snack time. I'm going to have another look around the area. I don't know what we're looking for yet, but we've still got some time. As attorneys, I suggest the 2 of you think the case over again. It would be awkward if you got all tongue-tied on stage during... All right, thanks for your help. It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Maloose, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find anything new.
Mhm.
All right, it's time to put our heads together. We've got to get our defense...
Merde, j'ai oublié déjà l'heure. C'est horrible, j'ai déjà oublié l'heure. 8h.
What do we do? The whole situation is so confusing. Good plan. Impossible thing. Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette, at least we will be supporting them from the... Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about... Thanks, Navia. Best of luck to you.
Mais non, la question c'est pas ça.
Ah, finally, you're back.
C'était dans le jeu qui me demandait d'aller à 8h.
We're already very grateful that you were willing to help. Well, now, don't you all look disappointed? Don't tell me that was to be expected, of course. The guilty but don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated...
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident... Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we...
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All...
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take your you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution.
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hard.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask...
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built an...
And you didn't hear anything else at all?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe...
Huh?
Hey!
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside.
I was right by the box and I definitely heard the thud.
Ah.
Look at those scales. Could those mean... Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth? The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did something like...
So the serial disappearances were the Fatsui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably...
Hey, la pauvre là.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing...
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept... The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the info... Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is... Hey, Linney! Why didn't you tell us...
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to re-establish the fact. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both Are these claims true? Please answer my question, Miss...
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might have...
Ah, d'accord, faut qu'on réagisse à un truc. On doit réagir ou ça se fait tout seul en fait, je comprends pas.
On to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary? They're all...
The defendant deceived...
Order! Order! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial...
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You search... In that case, my dear audience...
J'ai tellement envie que le personnage il fasse Objection.
Well, this is awkward. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Paimon just knew where to stop. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guy. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but...
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but...
En fait, moi je le savais un petit peu pour les Fatui, parce qu'il y a une cinématique qui est tournée pour un crossover Genshin Persona 5, où tu vois Arkelino, Harlequin, la meuf ou le mec qui a la faux, avec ces deux Lynette qui justement faisait un truc, c'est un petit genre de petite cinématique, toi, où tu les vois tous les trois ensemble qui travaillent ensemble. Donc j'avais compris un petit peu ce truc, quoi.
Who works as a magician, a trickster by trade, but still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal.
Sorry. Please forgive us. Well, you both say that, but... Right. Let's hear your answer first, and no lies now.
Of course. I'll answer any. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why, during our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick, with the objective of getting close.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this.
well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, which should have been impossible, of course, I was quite certain that I was the only. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution, and on the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground. But the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't. After that,
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
because of that prophecy I told you about, of course, we must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it, the whole truth. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust, but like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay.
Thanks for giving us a chance. The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a serious... Huh?
Bon, en fait, le problème, c'est que est-ce qu'ils vont pas plutôt mal prendre le fait qu'il a essayé de voir l'oratrice plutôt que pendant son tour, parce qu'il peut passer pour un criminel pour ça déjà.
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue state.
That took long enough. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective.
Oh, ça va être chaud.
Countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that so Linney proceeded to knock him out too. Afterward, Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the device. And there you have it.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to
the key to refuting Lady Farina? According to Linney, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. Liney went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This is the actual truth. Liney did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the aftermath.
Attention! Ace Detective Pop. When the countdown started, Liney did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where, once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since the crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his...
Bon, ça c'est bon.
Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that! Wasn't it awesome?
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing.
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Carol hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup? Assuming that what you say is true, Liney only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the
That's right, you tell him! Oh, well, your denial is very strident. Of course I do. If he had been... You're saying that he wasn't.
Quelle preuve importante que Liney n'était pas dans le tunnel quand le crime a eu lieu? Bah, ce qu'il a dit, non? Eh, donc faut vraiment que je choisisse, l'un de ces trois-là, quoi.
That's right! Liney wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. This means that when the crime happened, the same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the
To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Liney who committed the crimes, then who was it?
The deceased's name is Cowell, Liney's assistant.
That can't be right. Are you serious?
Oh, is that so?
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. The sound we heard may have come from Liney was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have come... The deceased's name is Halsey's clothing was in the... It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances.
Donc c'est le dernier.
It would have been tough for both.
Bah mais il me manque alors.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring? I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff. And here I thought you had something to show for it. But it seems you're still far from the truth.
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not just like the trick as it transpires?
If only we knew how Halsey
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has... It's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real life... Excuse...
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Objection!
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have come from... The deceased's name is... The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover...
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped. Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person... Just how could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about. Must we really? I should think that of anyone. Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappearance is...
Even so, I trust the travelers. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reason. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that... Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are...
the primordials.
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of... As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact...
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into...
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a...
If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting... Just a minute. Could that mean...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just try...
Order! Order! It is undeniable that Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding... Guards, please continue examining the... Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence.
Of course. Think if we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be—
Right! Like the metal hook! Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water
The deceased's name is Cowell, Liny's assistant. Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was— the water from the primordial sea. I remember there was something—
Yes.
It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would— afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he—
Huh. That actually links together.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound—
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal's— His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me. I shall now invite him on stage to—
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea.
What?
That can't be. Does this not clear all— My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me— Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowell then caused Halsey to— But upon his return, in cruel avarice, ultimately, he knocked Cowell out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also— Now, as much as I regret having come to such a vicious— Am I right, Mr. Linny?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us— Is this the end of the road?
Oh no! Paimon can't think of anything either. It doesn't look like there's any way around this. Seems you—
I think we've all seen enough now, and I believe this is indeed— Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice.
Excuse me, everyone.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout and to respect.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the— What?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating— Once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Linny and Lynette. Give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula, but as the magic makers and stars of the show,
I understand.
And voila.
Sorry.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about...
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me. And then before I knew it, she caught...
That'll teach...
Where should I begin? Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian. And I'm original. I heard that Liney's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there.
Putain, c'est pas la voleuse du début qu'on est arrivé?
I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Liney was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey!
Ah bah tiens, voilà.
Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was onto me. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. But then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costume. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank... Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm...
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell the...
Alors, Ashley dissoute. Donc non, elle n'est pas dissoute déjà. Ah mais tu veux que je réfute avec quoi en fait, c'est ça que je suis en train de me dire. Bah donc je suis obligé de le faire avec des preuves, mais j'ai pas les preuves du fait que...
The strange sound. The flower See. Lillian was...
And it's instant. Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian... Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian, with no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and...
CQFD. C'est quand même pas simple, hein.
She would have to go through guard inspection if she
had already become
desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of...
At this point, all the events that happened in... bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to... Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended.
What? No. I have no further argument. Wow! Look at that!
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, the actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the... With some modifications to the selector, he could... To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the... As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that... While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should this case, at least, can be handed over to the oratrice to make the final decision.
Ah, c'est les tickets de... Donc, c'est à rail, ça. Un ticket, tu sais, qui te permet de faire des invocations pour l'Astral Express.
As such, Linny and Lynette are officially...
Great work, partner.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation. How did you find the water from the primordial sea?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know.
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny. I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following order. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, therefore you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent more off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're...
And now he can no longer...
Such ruthlessness.
An outrageous. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're just going back now? That's...
Traveler, Paimon, please wait.
Linny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe, but still. Let me thank you again for defending me to the end. I guess. But regardless, I'd like the I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself. Just as for why I'm a Fatus, It's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
Ah bah voilà, c'est ça.
The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your...
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were to survive. I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility?
That was how we felt at first too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful, but I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand.
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than
It took a while for me to realize. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform.
Oh no. But what if Fontaine...
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care. I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. All I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the knave standing there in the darkness.
So, she'd already taken...
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement. Father, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so...
Archino se balade avec... Ah, bonne soirée toi, Capette. Excuse-moi, concentré sur le texte. Archino, son arme signature, c'est une faux. J'ai hâte comme de voir si on va pouvoir l'utiliser en tant que arme de main, etc. Ce qui est vrai qu'en tant que faux, ça peut être stylé sur n'importe quel personnage, quoi. La faux de la mort.
Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the knave, has their roots in Fontaine. And we will always defend our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
It's all right. I understand. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the house, I have never stopped making my own decisions. If you should need anything at all in the future.
Bye, Linny.
Et voilà, un petit rebondissement sympatoche. On va quitter l'opéra et on va s'en arrêter là après. Pour ce soir. Ah, Navia.
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navi?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail of breadcrumbs for the Hydro...
Ah, I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked, sorry.
Don't say that, Navia.
Aw, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the reflection in the murk to become... sorry about that. I'm a bit prone to... Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to commemorate our time as partners?
Huh? Do we really need to get that formal? Well, I just like to have a proper ending to every important memory. Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up. You don't have to twist Paimon's arm. If Boss. Oh, wonderful. In that case, why don't we return? All right then.
Voilà, on va pas respirer un peu. On devait dire parce que là, on doit être tête de bord. Et pourquoi là c'est rendez-vous au. Enfin, je suis mathématique. Bon, on verra plus tard. Et bah les gars, j'espère qu'en tout cas que ce petit soir de stream vous aura plu. Moi je vous dis bien à la prochaine vidéo, c'était fait rire. Tu vois les gars.
Surtout partagez, likez et oubliez.